There are some powerful Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that you need to know about. Big dog, because of Battles of Legends Tournament Revenge, we had some once old strategies get way more powerful and possibly even meta contenders. I think it's really important for Konami to visit those older strategies. Maybe you could even get some ex-players back into the game because these are pretty good. And in order for that to happen, you got to do your part. You got to share this video with a friend, but more importantly, consider joining the Patreon, as I'll be putting personal deck lists as a special thank you for helping me pay my editors. Let's go ahead and jump on in. What's going on with y'all, big dog? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope that your day phenomenal. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. In case you guys didn't know, it is another week of Update Monday. I have to say that it has been officially, I even looked it up, 3 years of kicking rheumatoid arthritis' ass. That's crazy. If there's anything I want to share with you guys for this particular Update Monday, is that hard work does give you an opportunity. Keep in mind, I did say opportunity. I didn't say payoff, because I don't think that's how hard work works. And I'm not trying to put your hard work into doubt, but basically what I'm saying is that we spend all of this time, money, blood, sweat, and tears for the opportunity to show that we're great. It's not always guaranteed. And if you ask me, that's actually a benefit of life. It would be pretty boring if I did X thing, I'm guaranteed this thing. But if I did X thing and I put in the work and I got the opportunity, I would feel blessed just to be in that position and accomplished if I were able to follow through with what I put my work into. And the reason why I say it is because that's pretty much what these particular Yu-Gi-Oh strategies are. As a Yu-Gi-Oh player, you're probably going to put a lot of hard work in these Yu-Gi-Oh strategies. Does it guarantee a win every single time? No. But because of the new support that's coming out, it's pretty much guaranteed you a chance to be able to compete. I want you guys to let me know all of your trials and tribulations with your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh deck and your best accomplishments, as well as your worst failures. And that's pretty much going to bring me to the very first Yu-Gi-Oh strategy I wanted to talk to you guys about. Yubel is incredibly powerful. Coolly enough, when Phantom Nightmare dropped, Yubel did get some amazing support that allowed it to be pretty good. Cards like Phantom Nightmare and Spirit of Yubel were huge for propelling the strategy forward. Following up, Legacy of Destruction gave it even more support with the new powerful field spell card in Nightmare Throne. I could talk about this card for hours because it does allow you to be able to not only play it inside of Yubel, but also be used in any deck that can incorporate a 0/0 Fiend monster. Fiends are easily my top 3 favorite types in Yu-Gi-Oh, so anytime we get a little bit, I gotta take it a little bit further. Especially since Grave Squirmer is also Yubel and Fiend support, Yubel was able to go to the next level and top a bunch of regionals this past summer, as well as being able to get really close to topping the YCS in Indianapolis. I think that those are huge accomplishments, seeing that Yubel hasn't accomplished anything since its inception 16 years ago. So what I'm really excited about is Phantom of Yubel that's coming out in Battles of Legends Monsters Revenge to put the strategy over the top. Not only does Phantom of Yubel make its own strategy incredibly powerful, giving it access to be able to summon Varujus and other powerful monsters really easy, the Yubel engine can be used in a lot of other decks and is ironically even better when the Fiendsmith cards come out in Infinite Forbidden. The deck is already scary good and is only getting better. Fortunately enough, I did make a deck profile about a couple of months ago that I think you should check out just to get you acclimated to the cards before Phantom Yubel. And if you want to see an updated version, go ahead and let me know. I even put some of the Yubel mats back online on TheCaliEffect.com. That's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to giving strategy support to give it the opportunity to compete. Kind of like how Shining Sarcophagus got some new support in Archfiend's Arrival, which is really good. I think anytime you can have a card that's like Triple Tactics Talent or Change Your Heart being able to take your opponent's monsters, you're in a pretty solid spot in the Yu-Gi-Oh meta. Though I wouldn't say that Shining Sarcophagus cracks this list just yet, I think the support from Infinite Forbidden also makes this strategy a lot better. Now, a deck that I think that has the opportunity to challenge Snake Eyes is potentially Ritual Beast. Now, if you guys remember Ritual Beast back in 2015, you probably only remember that this was the other strategy out of the Secret Forces, and by the time it became a pretty good Yu-Gi-Oh deck, it was banned. Ritual Beast never really got a fair shake at being able to contend into the meta, but I think right now it does have some properties that are really good. The first is being able to play cards like Dimensional Fissure and Dimension Shifter. I think that some Yu-Gi-Oh players are blindly playing this card inside of their deck because it hurts the opponent more than it hurts you. But you really start to appreciate these cards when you play it inside of a deck that only helps you, and Ritual Beast is one of them. But like I've said so many times before, those can't be the only reasons why the deck is powerful. Ritual Beast has quite a few one-card combos now, and and thanks to the new set, Ritual Beast Inheritance makes the deck a little bit more consistent. It's always been a problem for this deck to get a Ritual Beast Tamer and a Spiritual Beast monster, but now with Spiritual Beast Tamer Laura, this card not only serves as both, like the other Tamer monster, you also can discard this card to get an additional normal summon on top of the other normal summons that this deck brings together. That's right, big dog, between your normal summon, Cumin Falcos, Elder, and now this card, and another card, you get 5 normal summons inside of this deck. Really helps when you have a deck that says these cards can only be special summoned once, just normal summon them again. Also, when Tamer Laura is banished, you can summon any Ritual Beast monster from your deck, and that can be aided by summoning Spiritual Beast I'm just gonna call it Naruto. Spiritual Beast Tamer Laura also becomes a centerpiece of the deck because when it's banished, it allows you to summon any Ritual Beast monster from your deck. And the new fusion monster, Ritual Beast Ulti Natsui Drago, not only protects your Ritual Beast monsters from being targeted by card effects, it also can summon itself by banishing Ritual Beast cards in the graveyard. You heard me right, big dog. This deck is getting its own vicious Astrolabe. The new Link 4 boss monster gives it yet another normal summon and allows you to be able to get Ritual Beast cards back into your hand, but also allows you to banish cards on your opponent's side of the field. I think if you play Ritual Beast correctly, you can set Snake Eyes players up in a really bad situation. We know that being able to de-shifter or dimensional fissure your opponent isn't enough most times, but if you can do that and destroy multiple monsters on their side of the field, something that this deck can do pretty well with Ritual Beast Steeds, then you're probably cooking. Speaking of normal summons, Genex also got a ton of normal summons. The new Link monster Repair Genex controller, when summoned, allows you to get a Genex monster from your graveyard to your hand, and anytime if you add a Genex monster to your hand, you get to immediately normal summon. At first, it was really weird that Konami decided to go that route, and then I started to realize that there are a ton of cards that search Genex monsters. And while the deck didn't necessarily have a lot of cohesiveness, summoning, searching, and being able to synchro summon is everything that Genex has in common. What I'm really excited about is the Arms of Genex Return 0, which allows you to banish a monster in the graveyard as the same attribute as a monster your opponent's using to be able to negate the activation and destroy that card. My stupid self originally was wondering, how am I going to be able to get that many attributes? Until I realized most decks only play one attribute. So if you're ever going against a deck that plays the same attribute as yours, this card can be really good at stopping them. I don't think that Genex will be a top contender because almost any card that stops Repaired Genex Controller pretty much stops the entire deck, but I do think that Infernoid will be a crazy good Yu-Gi-Oh deck that you should probably look into. Infernoids kind of remind me a little bit like Ritual Beast. Maybe Konami is trying to bring out those strategies that can manipulate the graveyard to be able to stop Snake Eyes. The only problem with this is that Infernoids is probably better off as a Snake Eyes deck. Most Infernoid cards contribute monsters on the field to be able to banish cards in your opponent's graveyard. The bigger Infernoids in Anuku and Deviati allow you to destroy monsters, spells, and traps when summoned, but also allow you to be able to negate an activation of monsters, spells, and traps respectively and banish them. This could be incredibly good, but the biggest problem with Infernoid monsters was getting Infernoid monsters to your field. They require you to be able to banish Infernoid monsters from your graveyard or hand. And that's where the new spell card Void Blaze Up really does change the tempo of the deck. By revealing one Inferno monster or Void card, you can discard your entire hand and draw the same amount. It's essentially a card destruction, except your opponent doesn't get a reset of their hand. It also is a burial from the different dimension, allowing you to cycle back Infernoid monsters from your banished pile into your graveyard. I would like to say this card alongside a Void Barrier really does fix up a lot of the problems that Infernoid have always had, being able to get Infernoid monsters to your side of the field. But if I were to say it stops there, oh no, it only gets better. The new fusion monster, Infernoid Evil. Thankfully, there is another fusion card to use Void Imagination with. This card allows you to banish an Infernoid monster from your graveyard to send Infernoid cards from your deck to the graveyard up to the level of the monster you banished. And it also allows you to be able to add a Void spell or trap card from your deck to your hand when it's sent to the graveyard. Infernoid players finally get some well-deserved consistency and continuity for this deck, and the fact that it only requires 2 Infernoid monsters means that your board can get super poly now. I just thought of that, it doesn't feel too good, but who's going to be playing super polymerization? That's not me coping. Infernoid Flood is the new Link monster, which pretty much allows you to bypass Infernoid's restrictions by tributing a monster you can negate an opponent's summon and banish it. It also allows you to banish a card for simply banishing cards, and can summon an Infernoid monster from your deck, ignoring the summoning conditions if your opponent decides to get rid of it. I think one of the best parts about this deck is that you can use these Snake Eyes cards against your opponent, being able to use your original Sinful Spoil to get into your Infernoid Decatron, but also more importantly, being able to use Yubel Star to discard Infernoid monsters in original Sinful Spoil to summon Decatron makes me feel incredibly good about this deck. I think the deck has a solid going first game plan and some board breaking capabilities, as well as a natural ability to be able to counter the graveyard, something that we've been lacking inside of the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. It definitely gives Yu-Gi-Oh an opportunity to be able to counter the tier 0 strategy. And lastly is the strategy that I'm least proud of. I think that these cards could have been better for Sky Striker, but to be honest, it really didn't need much help. Getting Mobilized Engage to 3 was already insane, but getting new Link monsters as well as a monster that can summon Sky Striker Ace Rose from your deck or graveyard is just a little bit better in my opinion. I do think that the powerful Link monsters in Spectra and Azalea Temporis are pretty good cards. They allow you to push your strategy a little bit further and even bring some new things that Sky Striker was lacking, and overall one of them is Raw Power. Combination Maneuver is another infinite impermanence that this deck can access, and in case you guys were counting between Effect Veiler, Imperm, Ghost Mourner, Engage in this card, you got like 15. But I think one of the biggest things that Sky Striker got was Sky Striker Ace Camellia. This card is so good, especially since it only requires 2 effect monsters to be able to summon. Camellia then goes about to send any Sky Striker card from your deck to the graveyard. I'm not saying that Hayate is completely obsolete, but being able to send any card to your graveyard without having to enter your battle phase is huge for the deck. Striker already has some really powerful cards and Engage completely off the list. I'm really excited to see what players have to show for this opportunity because I hope it's not wasted. There's also another strategy that you need to know about: clicking on another one of these videos to help support the channel and gain more knowledge. Until then, big dog, I know you're having an amazing day, so I'll just catch you on the next one.